You're back watching Trenny and C for whatever reason.
Because you love it.
Yeah, because you love it. We owe the Scotch test dummies a chest hair shout out, whatever that means. And they've been bugging us about it. They want this chest hair shout out.
They want it, so I guess we got.
So here you go, everybody.
Oh,
You've been waiting for it.
That is.
Yeah.
That is a man.
There it
is.
is.
A manly chest hair there.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
All right.
All right.
Let's get serious here.
Well, we're gonna call you out on something. You guys got to do something for us. We'll think of it.
Yeah. Not chest hair.
Yeah. We'll put our two heads together and come up with something solidly mediocre.
Something stupid.
But anyway, today
let's see what the whiskey tree brought us.
What does the whiskey tree have?
Oh, whiskey tree! What do you have for us? The Laddie 10. What? Does that even exist anymore?
It's been discontinued. Thank you, whiskey tree.
I don't think this whiskey tree thing's gonna catch on.
It might be huge. It's huge. Anyway, so what we got here is the Laddie 10 from Laddie. Laddie Distillery is on Isla, and stick around and find out what makes this one unique compared to other Isla whiskeys.
Ooh.
Drinking whiskey, describing all the flavors for you and me. Irish, Scotch, bourbon, and rye. If they like a bottle, they'll tell you why.
Okay, we've got the Laddie 10 from Laddie. This one is discontinued, and they stopped making it about 3 years ago. We're sitting here in 2016, so somewhere in there.
And it's been replaced by Scottish barley.
The Scottish barley with no age statement.
And we plan on very quickly reviewing Scottish barley. So you'll be able to watch these videos back to back and see where our preferences lie.
Yeah. So right away with the Laddie 10.
Do you mind if I
go? You do it. You do everything.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing about it is 10-year-old whiskey. As you can see,
hey, whiskey tree, you gave us like a 1/10 left bottle.
He has to water himself once in a while.
Yeah,
I
true.
suppose. Anyway, assuming it's a he. Maybe no, it's got to be a female tree.
I don't know what's it called when what's tree science.
I don't know, but usually when they bloom and
horticultural,
they got
horticulture.
Horticulture. I don't know how to say that word.
We know whiskey, not trees.
Yeah. Anyway, so Laddie 10 is 10 years old. They've discontinued it because I think what's happening in Scotland right now is the amount of demand for these whiskeys is so great that some of these distilleries that are a little bit smaller and more craft style orientated
can't wait that 10 years.
Yeah, they can't keep up to the demand right now. And the Laddie is a very, very popular distillery because they have like...
Mind if I?
Yeah, do it. They have Octomore, which is really heavily peated. This one is a non-peated whiskey, even though you do get a tiny bit of peat in it because I think it's just the nature of the spirit and where it comes from.
I'm pouring sparingly here.
Yeah,
we don't want to slay the... We don't want to...
Yeah, this is rare.
It's not a
rarely
video.
There's not much left. Oh, God.
Does this hurt your heart?
Anyway, so they've just come up with a Laddie 8, which might be interesting. We'll see that. Anyway.
For another day.
So,
we're basically just displaying an empty bottle right now.
At this point. It's kind of sad. Anyway, Laddie's really good about bottling their whiskey at 46% to start. That's like their minimum bottling strength, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Right on the label, it says non-chill filtered and natural color. So right there, those three things, if you can find that in a whiskey, at least you know you're putting your money into it. You're putting your money into something
legit. A little bit more legit.
A little craft kind of oriented. So I guess we do nose, taste, color. No. Sorry. Color, nose, taste, finish, viscosity. Should we get to it?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the color, what's kind of nice about this one is, again, no color added. And a lot of these Isla whiskeys are a little bit light in color, including this one. Like it's like a golden straw.
Yeah, it has that light straw. It's slightly dark. I shouldn't already be doing comparisons, but it is slightly darker than the Scottish barley, and that's age related.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a. Made this comment before. It's that dirty blonde kind of thing going on. Yeah, love the dirty blonde. Nose.
Also, one thing with this, you can usually kind of tell that it's maybe been in a bourbon cask because doesn't have that kind of a ruby red sort of thing that bourbons usually impart in the flavor, in the color. So nose, yeah,
it's got it's got a bit of a sweet nip to it, like a bit of a sweet sting. Like you feel it in your nose right away. It's one of those ones with it being 46%. That's not super high alcohol content, but it's there right away.
Yeah.
Maybe a little burn.
A little burn. What I do like about this one is it's really buttery and caramelly nose. Like it reminds me of that caramel popcorn.
But yeah. Like that sweet and savory one that they have. I'm not talking about the caramel cheese one. I'm talking. There's one that's like a sweet and salty kind of one.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Like I have salt right away. Like I'm getting salt, and I'm getting like a salty and malty.
Salty and malty for sure,
and a bit of a salty pear.
And I think the salt comes from the fact that it's on Islay, which is a little island off the west coast of Scotland, and
it's got a nice nose to
it gets really, really battered with extreme weather. Like it's facing the Irish Sea kind of thing. So I think you get that salt, and a lot of these old school distilleries, they don't have windows in the warehouses, and they have those old dunnage style warehouses. So it's kind of gets blasted by the winds and the salt and the storms, and
it's just part of the environment.
You can smell the environment.
It lives. It lives in that environment, right?
Yeah.
And you are part of your environment.
Yeah. So also I get like a little on the nose, a browned butter right before butter is burning. You know.
And that's salty again, right?
Yeah.
Like that's salty and caramelly a little bit.
Salted brown butter.
Yeah. And just a tiny bit of tobacco I get too.
There is still that little bit of peaty smokiness to it. Not much, but it's there.
Yep. Can we drink it?
I'd love to drink it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about time.
Well, yeah, it looks like you have been drinking it.
I personally love this one. It's really sweet off the bat.
Starts a little hot too to me.
A little
hot.
Yep.
A little spicy.
Slight peat.
And I do taste that. I do taste that salty ocean water right at the beginning there.
It's got this salty toffee kind of taste to it. I really, really like this one. It's considered, for myself, one of my first whiskeys, scotches especially, that I bought besides Highland Park and Glenlivet and some of those ones that are beginners whiskeys. This was the first one I ever got because the price was right.
Yeah.
And it got really good reviews, and I fell in love with it.
You know, the interesting thing is that I don't know if it's just tonight and whiskey's tasting exceptionally good tonight or not, what the deal is, but I feel like I'm liking it more today than when I originally, like, as you're tasting it, you know, like, sometimes you get to know it a little bit more, or it takes a little bit of time, or whatever that is, but tonight I'm feeling a little more than I have in the past.
Yeah.
And that's too bad, because I kind of...
You're never going to have it again.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and this is true with any whiskey. Sometimes your first impression isn't the best.
Especially when there's a lot of hype behind this bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, when you bring up the Laddie 10, people, oh, the Laddie 10, oh, and maybe that's just because it is discontinued and you can't get it anymore, but people are always, oh, the Laddie 10, it's always brought up in the realm of best for the price, or, you know, a good starter whiskey, or, you know, whatever, but it always comes up.
Which was kind of true at the time, because Brook Laddie's an interesting distillery because they make so many varieties. It's just insane. They have different octomores and different tons and variations. And the Scottish barley, they had an organic Bruichladdich, and they source all of their barley from their farms. So I think originally the hype was surrounded by the fact that it was one of the first modern craft distilleries. And they were doing it, they kind of set the standard for other old distilleries that were doing it the old way, and these guys are really, really kind of were innovators when they came out in the
doing it right.
Really, because the distillery was shut down for a really long time, and then they started coming out in about 2001 again. So, which was very cool to get another distillery opened on Islay. There was only 8 at the time, I think, or 7. Anyway.
Yeah, so I think unless you've got any other comments you want to make about the taste, we can get into the finish.
I just personally really, really like this one. We haven't been adding water to anything lately, and this is actually one that takes water.
It's pretty good as is, though.
It is good as is, but another way you can tell, and I've mentioned this before in videos, but as soon as you add a little bit of water, it gets cloudy.
Yeah.
And that's usually a good sign because it means it's unchill filtered.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those oils are kind of like coming out. Yeah.
And it's a bit dry on the finish. A tiny bit bitter, but there's an oaky char to it.
Yeah.
An oaky char on the finish there, too.
I agree to that. It's a good... overall, it starts high and it ends high. The finish kind of cuts off relatively swiftly.
Yeah. There's also this kind of new leather taste to it, like and I don't know how to describe that, but it's like it's almost like that new car leather versus the shoe or the belt leather. Yeah. It's almost like, and I don't know if that's
like a polished leather.
Yeah, I don't mean it in a bad way, but it almost is like a plasticky leather, like a chemical-y leather, and that's the chemical
like
part.
Shoe polish.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Which is okay.
Yeah, because that's the alcohol part of it, but yeah, it's that new leather kind of, that polished kind of taste on the finish I get. Anyway,
it's a good whiskey if you ever get the chance to find one of these
in Grandma's cupboard.
I don't want to say squirrel any whiskey away, because I mean you got to drink it. But if you can find 2, maybe
just squirrel one away.
Squirrel one away.
Yeah. Viscosity.
Viscosity. Well,
a little bit. Thin, oily.
Yeah.
Oily. It's not thick.
It's not thick, but it's still.
It's got a presence.
Viscosity is one of those hard ones because
they can tell.
Yeah, I mean it's liquid and it's in your mouth. Okay, it depends on how heavy it is in your mouth. It's a little bit oily or it's not. So this one
it's just like that.
Yeah, this one's like in between. It's not oily and it is. Anyway, who cares? We should cut this.
You don't come to us for information.
No. Okay, anyway, we should grade this or score it.
Yeah, whatever.
I gave it a 26.05.
That's a nice score.
Which is good. In fact, I could probably rate it a little higher, but that's fine. And you rated it 24.05.
Yeah, and I feel like if I was to rate it right now, I would probably come up a little bit on that. But at the time I rated it, I felt what I felt.
Yeah, so it was 25.05 altogether now.
25.05, which is still a good score.
Still good, but in reality, it's probably closer to a 26.
Could be, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it doesn't really matter because you won't get any more of it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
But this video is good for our reference if we ever want to think about what it tasted like and reminisce.
And people are, on our Twitter, which we have right now about 1,200 that are following us, and we're following about the same amount of people, but on Twitter, there's been a lot of talk lately about the Laddie 10. We felt that we had to talk about it.
Yeah, I had a bottle, and it's really getting to the point where it is had.
Yeah, if we didn't do the review now, we wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
The timing was right. So anyway.
So here's our challenge. Scotch Test Dummies.
Oh.
Find yourself a bottle that is discontinued and give us a shout out of some kind. I don't care what it is, but we just want to see.
And we're also trying to test to see if you watch the whole video, because...
Yeah, if you watch the whole video, then we'll know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Chances are we know.
Yeah, you probably turned it off by now. That's fine. Okay, anyway.
TrennyandC.com.
Yeah.
Start there. Cheers.
Trenny and C.